All right, so let's do a scenario. Do you have any scenarios you want to run by? Have you talked to anyone about anything?
No, I haven't. No, I'm trying not to get analysis paralysis. So that's why I'm joining these, just going to these Zoom meetings and question people, but no, I haven't.
Okay, well, one thing you could do in the beginning is you could squat up with other wholesalers that's been doing it, okay? Myself and there's other people out there, and what we usually do, the way I do it is I split whatever we make, we'll split it 50-50, okay? But I'll
Okay.
show you everything. But let me give you, I'm gonna do an example. I'm gonna do a screen share, okay?
Okay.
Let me just figure out how to do, I should know how to do this. All right. Oh yeah, here it is, right in front of my face. All right, I'm gonna screen share over here. All right. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay, so let me go to a couple of things. All right. So let's say we're talking about a property when it's all fixed up, it's worth $100,000, okay? Let's say that's what the ARV is.
Okay.
And you're talking to a seller, and there's two categories. One, if it's going to be a fix and flip you're going to wholesale it to an investor so they could fix it and sell it, or a rental. Okay,
Yeah.
those are the two scenarios. Because if it's worth 50, I'm going to do two over here. This is going to be a flip side, potential flip, and a potential rental. Okay, on this side.
Okay.
All right, so let's say the rental's worth fixed up 50. All right, so, and let's say if a house, and there's two types of rentals. One, if it's already rented, I'm gonna say a fix and rent. This is a fix and rent, and this is a active rental. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's say it's still worth 50. Oh, I got one right now. All right, yeah, I got one very similar right now that I could talk about. So the rent amount on the active rental is $850. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how much the rent is. And let's say I get it for, I got one actually today for 19,000. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's my purchase price. I'm probably gonna sell this house. Well, the way I figure out what I'm gonna sell it for. All right, 19,000. I go on my formula here. I can send this to you, no problem.
Okay.
All right, so this house needs a roof, and it's actually in good shape. So it needs a roof, and the roof it needs to be resheeted because it has wood shakes on it. So it's probably a $6,000 roof. The garage needs some repair, about $1,000, and then let's just say another $1,000 of miscellaneous. So 7 grand in repairs.
Okay.
And then, so I'm getting it for 19 and I'm selling it for 30. So my fee is $11,000, okay?
Okay.
It's rented at 750. And you see this changes already. The management fee is 10%.
Right.
And the reserve for maintenance is 10%. That's what people who rent, they figure this stuff out, right? The monthly insurance on a rental is usually around $65. And the taxes on this particular, I looked it up earlier today, was $60. and the rent was actually 850, not 77. All right, so my ROI, when I sell this to an investor, it already calculates for me, it's 18%. Okay, in Detroit, you want to be 17 minimum. All right, 18, 19, 20 is really good. Okay, so I should have no problem selling this deal. So if you know this number, if you know this number here,
Oh, okay.
you just got to get it for less than 30,000 to make money,
Yeah,
which I did. I got it for 19.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then all the rest of it is the repair value.
Yeah, this is what the new investor is going to put into it, and their total investment's 37, and then this figure calculates the ROI. Okay, so that's that deal here. So if they wanted 30 for the property, and I'm trying to sell it for 35, then the ROI goes down to 15.86. It's going to be hard for me to sell that deal.
Right.
All right, so I got to make sure I get it for under $30,000. That's how I look at rentals. So on a fix and rent where it's not rented, like if this house was not rented, the same exact house, we would fix it up. We would probably put about 12,000 into it, because once it's empty, you're gonna have to do a lot more work to it.
Okay.
All right, but I'm gonna rent this house for minimum 1050.
Oh, wow.
All right, so that's gonna change the numbers.
Okay, I'll let her know.
All right, so now we're at 1050, and so I could even sell this house.
Yeah, just let me know when.
For 35,000.
Yeah, we'll take from that.
All right, so that's if it's not rented, then I got to figure out what the repairs are. I'll figure out what the new rent's gonna be, and because I talk to enough property managers and I know enough investors, I know what they're getting in rent. Some of them get more than this. They'll get 1,100. They'll do a Section 8, and they know how to get higher rents. Okay. Now, if the same property is worth, or another property is worth 100,000,
It's free.
Yeah,
and let's say it needs
I'm gonna teach you.
right.
I don't even know how to explain it.
25,000 in repairs.
It ain't nothing else to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's say it needs 25 grand in repairs.
I
All
literally.
right, usually I want to figure that.
Todd, can you mute that person named owner?
I can't. All right. I see. Hang on.
This shit right here. Right? This ain't
Yeah,
it.
find it.
What's that? That's Keith.
What's the name? Owner.
It's
Okay.
owner. It says owner on it.
I got it. I got it.
Okay.
All right. So if it needs 20, I messed up.
Thank you.
25 in repairs, and then let's just say we want the flipper to make 20 grand, just to start. So we're trying to back into this.
Okay.
I'm gonna put 20 grand profit, and let's say we want to. I can't spell. Sorry. And let's say we want to make, that's 20 grand profit for buyer. And then let's say we want to make 10 grand, 10,000 assignment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're at 25, 30, all right. So we got 25, 35, 45, 55.
Right.
All right. But when they flip the house, they're going to pay usually 6%. You know, you got to figure in real estate cost and things like that. So I usually figure 10% right off the top. So I'm going to subtract, I'm going to take 100 grand, 100K minus
10%.
minus 10 grand right off the top. All right. And then I'm going to subtract these numbers here. And that's what I could pay for it. 20. So 25, 35, 45, that's 55 minus 55K. So now we could buy this house, right? Is that 25, 35, 45? Yeah, that's 55. So we could buy this house for 35,000. That's what, or less, of course. All right, and then we would sell it on the market, we'd buy it from, and we would sell it for 45.
Mm,
All right, so that's why you gotta know this number, the ARV. On rentals, you really don't need to know the ARV because it's all about this number down here
okay.
to a lot of people. If it's like a $20,000 house, then this ROI needs to be higher than 18. It needs to be in the 20s.
Oh, wow. The least expensive the house, the more the
Yeah, because the least expensive, it's more or less a junkier house or junkier neighborhood or something like that. So you're not buying the ROI. You're buying the ROI, really. You're getting the cash flow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how, but yeah, so that's why, so $100,000 house, you gotta leave room in it for the investor to make money.
Right.
Okay, because if an investor sells it for 100, we did it up here. They put 25 into it, they'll profit 20 grand if they buy it for 45,000.
Okay.
So, and maybe the investor gets lucky and they sell it for more than 100,000. That's great for them. And now, as a new wholesaler, you might be okay with 5,000. Then you could pay 40,000 for it. All right. You just got to subtract that number, 5 grand, and you can add it here.
What I like to do is like, and Todd will attest to this too, like comping in general, like this is super important because as soon as Todd or me get sent a deal, I don't care if it's from the other person, whoever, this is immediately we check comps, use that as the ARV, and then depending if it's a rental or flip, we do this exact same calculation. And at this point, we just do it in our head because we haven't memorized what it takes. But from here, like being able to do that quick is super important because, like, let's say, so for this house, Todd, your offer would have to be 35,000, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So let's say the seller wants 30. Like you already know you're going to make money at that price. So then you need to be on top of that deal. You need to call them right away. If you don't know your numbers, it might just sound like another deal to you.
Right.
But you get deals that the seller will say they want 30 or 25, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. So then you get on top of it as fast as you can so you don't lose it. But it's super awesome. Even if they want 35, then you say, okay, well, whatever else I can negotiate, it's in my pocket. So if you get around 32, well, there's an extra 3 grand. So this right here, everything he just showed you is super important. Like we probably do this, what, 10, 20 times a day, Todd, like every single week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you go to each house and walk through it and do an appraisal, or what? How do you get the estimate for the cost?
Well,
The
if
rehab.
you're a licensed, it's experience, being a licensed agent. Some agents don't even know how to do it, or squatting up with someone that knows how to do it,
Okay. Yeah.
But having the comps, like having access to the MLS, that's the best way. And that's the way I do it because I've always had access, but there's ways of doing it through Zillow and things like that. But you always, there's a couple of things. Ask the seller what they think the house is. If this was fixed up real nice, HGTV style, beautiful, what do you think this property could sell for? Now, if he says it could sell for 85,000 and you know it's worth 100, go off of his number because it's just gonna make your case look better.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Because if he thinks it's worth 85, then you could talk to him and back him into it. Well, to get this house so I could sell it for 85, how much money do you think I need to put into it? He might say 20. I say, yeah, you're probably close, Me, it might take me a little bit more, but let's figure 20. So now I'm gonna say 20, okay? Because I'm already making an extra 15. Now I'm making an extra 10. Hang on. So now we're figuring 20. Okay?
Right.
So, and sir, I'm an investor. I gotta make a profit, So let's just, and we got real estate commissions. So now 85 minus 6% real estate commissions is $5,000. All right, minus 20,000 in repairs. And I'll probably be, so now we're at 60,000. I'm trying to make it make sense to the seller because I can't, this wouldn't make sense. If I did it that way, it still wouldn't make sense, okay? Because even though he came in lower, because I can't, I'll be making way too much of a profit in his eyes. So I wouldn't even talk to him that way in a case like this. Now, if he said 50 or 55, then you could do it all day long. And another thing that I was talking to a wholesaler today, another guy I do business with, and we squat up all together. He's pretty new, and he's getting a lot of business. He's getting a lot of leads, people he's talking to. So he's taking action. But the one thing it seems like every time he calls me, he never has, the sellers are not giving him a price of what they want for it. And I would say 99% of the people I talk to, I get a price. So he's just not at that level yet, or he's not saying something correctly to get that price out of him, because whoever says their price first loses. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
You never want to just give offers, because that's what you're going to end up doing. And I heard on a podcast, and I use it all the time now, is if they just say, what's your price? What's your price? I just tell them, I said, sir, I'm an investor. My price is going to be low, and it's going to be real low, so let me know what your price is, and I'll see if I could come up to your price. Okay. That's, my offer is going to be lower than yours. I could tell you that right now. But what are you, and then you just start trying to figure out, and you try to get that price out of him. And if he doesn't give it to you, then you got to give him the lowest price, give him 10 grand, 15 grand, and joke about it. Say, that's probably where I'm at. We bought or you can even say, we bought a house not far from here, and we got it for $15,000. And then they're gonna say, no, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. What price are you at? Let me see if I can come up to it and see if we can make this work.
Yeah.
And
Bring it down.
99% of the time, they're gonna give you a price if you just say it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if sometimes I'll say, oh, well, it looks like houses are selling for about 10 or 15 cash. And then just stay silent. And then they'll be like, I need at least 25 for mine. It's like, oh, okay, so you do have a number in mind, 25, gotcha. And then you can take it from there. But if you can't get the number out of them, like Todd said, just lowball them. But don't be like, I'll give you 10 grand, that's what your house is worth. Just say something that's really open-ended and let them, not directed at them. Like, don't say I'm offering you 10,000. Right. It's like, well, I think my partner would want to be around 10. Where does that put you? And then they won't be offended by you. And they'll come back with like, no, I need to get at least 20, ideally.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of times you want to know that price before you go out to the house. I ran enough calls in the beginning where you get to the house and you look at it and they want like 70 grand. If I would have known that, I would have never showed up. So, you do that a few times, you'll start, but it's always good taking action. Even, you'll learn every time you go out there, you're going to learn something. You should have did this, or maybe I could do this better next time, this way or that way, things like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm still learning here. So it's, I've gone out to meetings and did the exact same thing Todd's talking about. And even though I even knew that price, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll talk them down. It ended up being a waste of time, honestly. So,
Oh, wow.
but you never know, honestly. You really don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're close, like if they're saying a price over the phone that, like if I'm gonna pay 35 for this house and they're at 40, I'm just gonna make the appointment and go there, you know. But if
Okay.
they're at 50, I'm gonna talk to them a little bit more and explain to them, you know, I would say, I'm not gonna be your buyer for this at 50. That's not where we're gonna be if it's, and then you'll talk to them and try to figure out what their pain point. Why don't you just sell it? Why don't you just put some money into it and sell it on, with a realtor? Or why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You know, and I'll try to get them down over the phone a little bit more. But yeah, if they're adamant about 50 and I'm at 35, we're wasting our time.
So do you call them back like a couple of weeks later or follow up, any kind of follow up?
100%. You always follow up because they might go through other wholesalers and they're doing the same thing, beating them up, trying to get lower. But yeah, you always follow up. Follow up until they tell you to go F off or something, keep following up.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
And that's probably something I should do a lot better. And is follow up. I hired a VA to do that. So yeah, that's very important. Following up. I mean, there's deals that 6 months, a year ago, and you just keep following up. Is it okay if I follow up with you, in the next 30 days? Then you follow up in 2 weeks, but next time you talk to them, it's like your friends, hey, how you been? Always try to remember or put in your CRM and your notes, something, that you could talk to them the next time you hear oh yeah, I know last time I talked to you, you're having some issues and with your son, and I just hope all that's going well now, and just let them talk about it for a minute,
Okay. That's
Yep,
good.
yep.
So, and you use all sold comps when you do wholesaling, right?
I use sold, active, pending.
Oh, you
I use a little bit of everything, and the reason why the market's so